One.
Hi, for the lesson today, we are going to talk about planning and structuring an essay. First, let's take a look at the structure. Because we are talking about argumentative essays, usually argumentative essays have an established organizational structure, and this structure helps the writer to express their ideas in a clear way and the reader to follow the thread of their argument. Essay structure is guided by its content and argument. So every essay will pose unique structural challenges. And organizing your ideas and thoughts into a plan in advance can help you develop a coherent argument and allow you to focus your attention more fully on the writing process itself. Okay, now let's take a look at the planning essays. And here in the planning essays, let's take a look at the question. So number one that you have to know is understand the question. And you know what? Lecturers, teachers, they often complain that students don't answer the question. So you have to make sure that you take time to understand the question. And you have to know first whether the question is open-ended or closed. If it is open-ended, you will need to narrow it down and explain how and why you have decided to limit it in the introduction to your essay so that the reader knows that you appreciate the wider issues but that you can also be selective. On the other hand, if it is a closed question, your answer must refer to and stay within the limits of the question. For example, specific dates, tags, or countries. And lastly, what can you infer from the title about the structure of the essay? Okay, now let's move on to the second stage. And this is equally important. Brainstorm your ideas. What you know about the topic? Uh, is it from lectures, reading, and so on? And then what you don't know about the topic but need to find out the answer to the question. And then what are the possible responses or answers to the question? And do you have any ideas about your conclusion? So having a mind map is very important to organize your thought. Okay. Okay. Now the next stage is make a plan. Now you must be wondering, why plan? Why should I plan? Now you have to understand that planning your essay makes it more likely that you have a coherent argument because it enables you to work out a logical structure and then an endpoint for your argument before you start writing. So basically, if you have a plan, you already know what you want to start first, and then what to go next, and then what's the end of this um, argument. So basically, save you time, and then you don't have to, like uh, think to make it complicated. And again, the last point here is it helps you to commit yourself to sticking to the point. So those are the planning stages. And besides that, we also need planning strategies. For example, use the title to structure the essay. Is it a description? Is it a comparison? Or is it an analysis? And then, of course, again, if you go back to one of the stages there, what structure is most appropriate for the topic? And again and again, have a template for the plan. Okay. Now, this is the outline of your essay. Okay. So, paragraph one is the introduction. Address the question, show why it's interesting, and how the essay will answer it. So, basically, develop an overall mission statement. Okay. So, I need you to see the structure and planning session for more information. And the second paragraph is the main body. Here is where you build your argument. So you put groups of ideas in a sequence to make a persuasive argument and try to stick with one main point in each paragraph. Spend time to make sure progression of ideas is logical here. And you can do the same, I mean, you should do the same with paragraph 3, paragraph 4, paragraph 5, etc., depending on how long your paragraph will be. Basically, follow this WHEAT format. WHEAT here stands for what, evidence, example, and do. So, what is the main point? Show evidence, you give example, and then you tell sometimes the reader to do something. And lastly, your last paragraph, and here it's the sixth paragraph, is the conclusion. So basically, here you summarize your arguments and evidence and show how these arguments and evidence answer the original questions. So I think that's it with planning your essay. And source for this is from here. Thank you.